First Flight, Poem Number 3, The Tiger in the Zoo by George Leslie Norris. A tiger in the zoo. He stalks in his vivid stripes, the few steps of his cage, on paths of velvet quiet, in his quiet rage. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass, near the water hole where plum deer pass. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. But he is locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. About the poet. George Leslie Norris was a prize winning Welsh poet and short story writer. Until 1974, he earned his living as a college lecturer, teacher, and headmaster. Norris is considered one of the most important Welsh writers of post-war period, and his literary publications won many prizes. His collections of poetry include Tongue of Beauty, Finding Gold, Islands of Maine, and A Sea in the Desert. Apart from this, he also wrote short stories, translations, biographies, and reviews. His volumes of short stories include Sliding and The Girl from Cardigan. Both his poetry and his prose display remarkably rich powers of description. Stanza 1. He stalks in his vivid stripes, the few steps of his cage, on paths of velvet quiet, in his quiet rage. So, in the first stanza, the poet describes the appearance of the tiger and says that the tiger moves up and down in his cage. He stalks. Stalks refers to walking slowly, and stripes are the long narrow bands on the body of the tiger. Vivid refers to the bright color. So he stalks in his vivid stripes, the few steps of his cage. He walks in the cage up and down, and he can take only few steps as it's a very small cage. On paths of velvet quiet. Pads refer to the soft underside of the paws, and talking about velvet, that means the pads or the paws are soft as velvet. So on paths of velvet quiet, so it is moving in the cage, walking up and down in the cage, and because of the soft paws, it cannot be heard. The sound of walking cannot be, or the footsteps cannot be heard. In his quiet rage. Now rage refers to the tiger is very angry. Now, why is it angry? Because the tiger, in spite of his strength, he is imprisoned in the concrete cell or is behind the bars, and he is helpless, and so the tiger is very angry. Stanza 2. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass, near the water hole where plum deer pass. Now, in the second stanza, the poet is full of pity for the tiger and says that the tiger should have been in its natural habitat rather than in the zoo there. So he says he should be lurking. Lurking means hiding, hiding in the shadow of tall grasses. So the tiger should be lurking in shadows, sliding through long grass. So the tiger should be lurking or hiding somewhere behind or walking quietly behind the long grasses, waiting there quietly for the prey, or waiting for the plum deer to pass from there. Near the water hole where plum deer pass. So water hole refers to the small pool of water where the animals come to quench their thirst. So on the whole, the poet is referring to the tiger and showing pity for this creature, saying that just such a majestic creature should not be kept in the zoo behind the bars, but it should be let free in its natural habitat where it can enjoy its freedom. Stanza 3. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. So, in this stanza, the poet highlights the tussle for survival between human beings and animals. And the poet imagines what the tiger would do in case he fails to find any prey in the natural habitat. So you have the line, he should be snarling. Now, snarling here means making deep, rough sound or the growling of the tiger. So, the tiger would be snarling at the edge of the jungle near some village if it doesn't find any prey in the natural habitat. Baring his white fangs, his claws. So, baring here means showing, and fangs are the sharp teeth, and claws are the nails of the tiger. So, if the tiger is not able to catch any prey in its natural habitat, then definitely it will become a cause of terror for the villagers. Now, in this stanza, the poet hints that if we destroy the natural habitat of these wild animals, then definitely they will be forced to turn towards our towns and villages for food. Stanza 4. But he is locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. In this stanza, the poet expresses deep sympathy at the plight of the tiger, and so he says that the tiger is locked in the concrete cell, his strength behind bars. That means the tiger, in spite of all his strength, he is now imprisoned or captured behind the bars, stalking the length. That means walking up and down, stalking the length of his cage, walking up and down in his cage and ignoring the visitors, those visitors who come to see him every day. So he is ignoring the visitors because now he is fed up with the situation, and so he feels sad and restless behind the bars. Stanza 5. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. So in this stanza, the poet talks about how a day ends in the life of a captive tiger. He knows no rest during the day because of the visitors continuously visiting the zoo. Then we have the line, he hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars. That means even at night he is not able to rest in peace because the vehicles, we have the reference of the patrolling cars. That means the patrolling cars are the vehicles used by the zoo authorities to guard the zoo at night. So all night the tiger hears and gets disturbed by the sound of the patrolling car. And then we have the line, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. That means the tiger stares at the brilliant or the bright stars with a hope that one day he would be free and then he would enjoy the natural habitat. So with this hope, he stares at the stars, which gives him comfort and hope in life. Through this poem, the poet is raising a moral issue. He intends to present a strong case against the cruelty of humans towards these wild animals. He further says that, just like humans, animals also long for freedom and do not like to be caged. So, we should not put these animals behind the bars just for our entertainment.